Welcome to the Solemn YuGiOh channel where we discuss everything collecting and investing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Today we are going over my next PSA submission. So as you know or don't know, I send in a PSA submission every month, and that way you can receive back a submission every month if there's no odd delays and stuff like that, which is always exciting. And that way you also see which cards I'm interested in. You notice, oh, maybe there's something there. Why is he buying XYZ? And maybe we can learn from that. I'll also sometimes discuss why I think a card is maybe undervalued, and hopefully we can all learn from each other that way. Now, if you are personally going to be grading anything through PSA, make sure you have soft sleeves, penny sleeves, and card savers. And if your cards still have smudges on them, be sure to clean them. I do have product recommendations in the link in the description, so if you still need to buy anything for your own card grading, I list basically the products that I think are the best down there, and if you buy them through that link, you also do support the channel. Now, for my submission, I am sending in all of my world's exclusive cards right here. If you want to see what I pulled, you'll have to check out my world's pack opening. So these are all from 2011, exclusively for the World Championship. These are extremely rare, and yeah, I'm grading them all. These pops on these are literally, some have 110, maybe 2 10s, 0 10s, maybe 1 9, and so forth. These are rare as fuck. And so I'm adding some to the pop report. So these I'll be grading. If you want to see the specific ones, check out that unboxing. Now for my non-Worlds cards, let's have a look. So first of all, we have Dark Necrofear. This card is so cool. This is from back in Battle City, I want to say, is when this was used. Was it Bakura who used that? Or was it? It was some evil person at least. This card looks edgy. I love edgy. This card looks evil. It's an ultra rare and from a very underappreciated set in my opinion. Like, LON has so many edgy evil cards and it's still so cheap. And you know, very often I hear people go like, oh, you're always talking about vintage, but I'm priced out of vintage. You know, Blue Eyes is 40,000 or this other Blue Eyes is 16,000. I'm like, there's more to this stuff than Blue Eyes. And yes, Blue Eyes is safer. Blue Eyes is the grail. But there's so many cheap cards. I bought this card for 50, something like that. And it's super clean. I don't think it's sand material because as you can see, the centering is actually off. Perhaps on the back, this is still fine, but I don't think so. I think this is too off, especially because on the front, it's the same thing. But you know, it's such an iconic card. It's extremely close to mint. Like, even if you're priced out, you can find some gems. And this card, I mean, this card is beautiful. Next up, we had a Mystical Space Typhoon. Now this one, once again, an ultra rare from MRL. Super strong, iconic card. Magic cards, in my opinion, are still super undervalued. Like, even LOB you could pick up for a couple hundred, like fucking supers in high condition, like 9s and 10s. It's crazy. And this card has been meta relevant for almost 2 decades. Not anymore now because you have Cosmic Cyclone, Lightning Storm, I get it, but for the longest time this card was insane. So having the ultra printing of it, absolutely beautiful card. I don't think this will grade very well. You can see the centering here, off left to right, here as well, left to right. But you know, aesthetically, it's still a really nicely looking card, and so even if it's only getting like an 8 or whatever, I'm still very happy to just send it in. Next up, we had the Masked Beast. Once again, that edgy LON set. Once again, an ultra I picked up for like 40. That's crazy. So much value is still to be had if you're just willing to look a little further. Absolutely stunning card. Again, I'm an edgelord. I like that dark and gritty. This card is very clean. I remember maybe seeing something on the surface of the back, but overall this one is definitely cleaner than the MST and the Necrofear. We'll see how it grades. I did get these in like a while ago, so my mind might be a little smudgy, but overall awesome, beautiful card. I would definitely want to have this in my collection. Next up, my favorite part of this submission, we have 2 Time Wizards, or as my girlfriend likes to call him, Cute Clocky Man. Now, one of these is sand material. One of these is extremely clean, both front and back. Maybe, again, I missed something. It's still a while ago, but I remember one of these is extremely clean, and the other had some back issues. Again, in a top loader, this is not on the card. In a top loader, you probably can't see, and probably on camera you can't see, but I remember. So one of these is not 10 material, and the other is. So we'll see when they come back. This card is iconic, man. Like, Joey going ham with this card, turning Baby Dragon into Thousand Dragon. I think a lot of people have very fond memories of this card, and so yeah, I just needed to have one. Right now 10s are like what, $2,000 or something crazy like that. This is from Metal Raiders, which is the second set ever. So I want to say, if you're being priced out of LOB, Metal Raiders is still a really solid set to get into, but even now those are already creeping up. So if you're really priced out of those top tier cards, like again 2K for an Ultra, maybe you're being priced out there. Maybe you can look towards something like an LON where the Ultras can still be gotten for way, way less. Again, not the same level of iconic. I don't think many people are fans of Masked Beast compared to Time Wizard, but you're still talking rare, vintage, minty, still available, and it still has its niche fans. I'm a big fan of this card. Next up, we have a Barrel Dragon. Now this one, not 10 material. I already know. I recall something on the back was somewhat off. Now again, maybe I get lucky, but for example, here you have this corner that's a bit whitened. You also have the top that has a very, very subtle whitening. And so, I mean, that little point right there, that little point right there, that will get ducked. This is not getting a 10. I get these people sometimes who go like, yeah, well, I have seen a 10 before that has whitening. Oh, I've seen a 10 that's like this and that. And like, yeah, but in general, you shouldn't assume that your kind of fine cards are getting 10s. Outliers exist, but they're not the rule. Then we have a LOB Celtic Guardian. Now, this is European LOBs. It's definitely not a big hitter like some of the American LOBs, but you know, they're still relatively rare. They're still quite cheap right now. Most of their lack in price is really because the American market wants the American cards because that's what they grew up on, and most collectors are in America. But so, hey, maybe you think like, wait, we'll get European collectors, and those are starting to build up as well. So maybe the EU side will grow in demand. That's possible. Right now it isn't, but I was very fine picking this up. Like, this was extremely cheap. I was like, it's LOB, it's first edition, it's still rare, it's very close to mint. And so who knows, I gladly add this card to my collection. I also don't have the American version of this. I've been really moving into LOB. Like, when I started this channel, I owned no LOB cards. So for the longest time, I just didn't care all that much, you know. I didn't grow up on LOB. I started the game around Pegasus starter deck / MRL, kind of that era. So I kind of missed that, and so I just didn't go for that. I had no nostalgia towards that. But man, do I regret not getting those earlier. So I just started accruing more and more of that. I think by now I have like 9, 10. Well, once everything arrives, I'm probably close to 15 LOB cards, all holos and so forth. But so yeah, this is iconic. I mean, Celtic Guardian with Yugi, that's iconic. Even if I didn't grow up on LOB, I grew up on the anime, so needed to have that boy. Then we have Swords of Revealing Light, once again LOB European. This card is iconic, but I don't like it as much as some of the other Magic cards, and so I went for the other Magic cards in American while I went for this one in European. It was also very cheap, like 30 bucks or something. Again, you can still get a lot of the vintage, truly iconic cards for so cheap, even in PSA 9 and so forth. Okay, you're going for the EU, which is worse than the American, but god. Next up, we have a Toon Cannon Soldier. So this one was supposed to go with the previous batch, because I had basically bought a bunch of raw Toons at once. Didn't come in time. Now notice that the centering is actually off, so the left side is wider than the right side right here. So that will definitely dock some points. On the back, it's not as noticeable. On the front, it really is. But I still needed to have one. Like, even if this isn't getting a 10, that's fine. I just wanted to have the Toon collection, at least the vintage one. This is from Tournament Pack, which is really hard to find in good condition. And quite some of the tournament packs are known for their centering issues. Like, if you look at a Morphing Jar or a Needleworm, you always find those off-center. So, like, if you go to, oh, I want a Morphing Jar or Needleworm in Minty, well, usually you're getting like a BGS 7.5 or an 8 because your centering is always way off. That was in the earlier TPs, though. Like, this is only Tournament Pack 6. Regardless, again, Toons needed for the Toon collection. Next up, this card is a fun one. So a Reaper of the Cards, LOB, first edition American, and I noticed it on Card Market and was like, wait, it's an American LOB card. It's a rare. It's an iconic one. I love this card. I remember it from the anime in the graveyard, like going around. Oh, love that card. And it's only $7. Now I know it's a rare. It's only a rare. This isn't like, whoa, I found the Blue Eyes, but it's still first edition LOB American, a rare, for $7. I just have to not eat some M&Ms once, and you can afford that. That's crazy. So scooped it up. Once again, centering is a bit off, left to right, but that's okay. Once again, we are dealing with fucking LOB. And it's one of my favorite cards. Like, if I had to pick a favorite rare in LOB, I guess Pot of Greed would win, but this one will probably be second place. Next up, the best card in the submission, the Holy Grail, Hungry Burger. A viewer actually sent this one over. I appreciate it so much because we were talking about MRL, and at one point he asked about if I was looking for any comments, and I said, well, Hungry Burger, obviously, like that's such an iconic card. I never got it in a 10 or anything like that. And it was like, oh, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm like, mind blown. So thank you so much. So now I have this card. I'm sending it for grading. It will never leave my collection. Like, I'm only sending it in for grading because I want it protected in the slab so I can look at it. But so yeah, love this card. I love MRL. And the pop is actually extremely low on this. I think it's like only... I talked to Tim about this. I think the pop is like 5 10s out there. There's only 5 in the world, you guys. Now, be aware, before you start investing in Hungry Burgers, that pop report is so low because barely anyone sent it in. So don't get crazy there. Even if the price goes up, there's plenty of people who can send in 50 of that card and increase the pop overnight. But you know, we're talking about insane memes. Then we had Paladin of White. I also did a video on how to clean your PSA card. So if you haven't seen that one already, or maybe it's not up yet, but you should check it out, where I clean the back on this one. Now I will say the back here, the surface has issues. So despite the cleaning, this will not be a 10. But you know, you want to increase your odds. And so you should probably check that out. But so this one, I don't have high hopes or anything. But once again, it was a story where how the hell could I find a near mint, you know, especially the front, like aesthetically pleasing first edition MFC card for a couple dozen bucks? That is insane. It's iconic, old, rare. And beyond that, if you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon collection, you kinda want the Paladin of White Dragon also in that, so maybe it's still underappreciated for that reason. Who knows, but I can just tell you that. Very happy to pick this one up. And then finally we had a Change of Heart. Now, this card I'm very excited for as well. This is probably my second favorite in the sub, I wanna say, like Time Wizard wins. Now, of course, we're not talking about the Beautiful Worlds cards, like those, I pulled them myself, those definitely win, but from this side of the non-Worlds cards, winner for me is definitely Time Wizard. But Change of Heart, instant second. Like, this card is iconic, broken, still banned right now. This card was banned so quick and just stayed banned for a century because of how good it is. And look at that art. This is art. It's also extremely rare. It was one of the chase cards in Metal Raiders, the second set ever printed. It is part of the Power 5 in the sense that Yu-Gi-Oh! Had 5 broken as hell magic cards, 4 of which were LOB, 1 was MRD. This Change of Heart just had to have it. Like, we're talking about a card, what's a 10 now? I don't know, slightly over 2,000, crazy stuff. This one is very clean. Centering isn't perfect, but it's not out of 10 range, I want to say. Back was also extremely clean. This bottom right corner was slightly weaker, but it's very, very subtle. How much did I pay for this? 70 bucks. After that, I also bought a 9 of this because I wanted to finish my Power 5 set. So once everything comes in, I have the Power 5 totally PSA graded, all in 9s and 10s, which is very exciting for me. Again, magic cards are so underappreciated. Now, I'm not saying like, go invest in them, they'll surely go up and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? But compared to some of the monster cards that really never meant anything in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I don't know. I get monsters are exciting. I'm excited for a lot of monsters, but these magic cards are so cheap. Like, I just scooped them all up. And again, 70 bucks, fucking steal. So that was this submission. This is gonna be a big one. Like, one stack over there is already 20 cards. Then these are not 20, but maybe like 50, I don't know, 35 cards. Some of these have to be sent in express, others like a tier under express. It's gonna be an expensive sub. It's also why I'll probably be selling some of the Worlds cards, like the doubles in the like lower grades. You know, I would hold on to the 10s and then sell off some of the 9s just to offset some of the cost here because this is getting out of hand. But overall, extremely excited for this sub. This is probably one of my favorite subs so far. I did have a few really good ones as well, like Blue Eyes Toon, Dark, and Dark Magician Girl. So really excited for these, but like in terms of raw amount of insane cards, wow. So again, if you need any specific products to grade yourself or store your graded cards, link will be in the description. If you are still looking for raw cards to grade, my affiliate link for TCG Player is in the link in the description. So if you buy through that link, you once again support the channel. If you do, I appreciate it very much. A like, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.